Good afternoon, everyone. This is Miss South again, coming from Barker Falk Elementary, Monroe City School, 6th grade. We're going to continue talking about our poem. We're going to reread our poem, and then we're going to go a little more in depth on our TPCAS. On the last lesson, we went into our TPCAS, where we're going to focus in on one section of the TPCAS. We're going to do our poem Travel by Robert Louis Stevenson. I should like to rise and go where the golden apples grow, where below another sky, parrot islands anchors lie. And I watch by cockatoos and goats, lonely Crusoe's buildings boats, where in the sunshine reacheth out eastern cities, miles about, are the mosque and minaret among the sandy garden set, and the rich goods from near and far hang and sell in the bazaar, where the great wall China grows, and one side desert blows. And with bell and voice of drum, cities on other hum. Where are the forests, hot fires, wild as England, tallest fire and full of apes and coconuts. And the Negro hunter huts, where the knotty crocodile lies and blinks in the Nile, and the red flamingo flies, hunting fish before his eyes, where the jungle near and far. Man-devoured tigers are, lying close and giving ear, let's hunt being near. Or the comer by the scene, swinging in palanquin, where among the desert sand some desert city stands, all its children sweet and prince, grown to manhood ages since. Not a foot in the street or a house, not a stir of child or mouse. And when calmly falls the night, in the town no spark of light. There I come, when I'm a man, with a camel caravan. Light a fire in the gloom of some dusty dining room. Set the pictures on the walls, heroes, fights, and festivals. And in the corner find the toys of the old Egyptian boys. So we are going to reread our poem. And then we're going to go into our theme part of our TPCAS. We're going to look closely at the T of our TPCAS and discuss themes we have identified from the poem. What is the theme? The theme is the central idea of what the poem is truly about. What is the author's choice he's trying to get you to understand? So we're going to look at it. It says, remember, the theme of the text is the central idea or the message that the author conveys through the specific details throughout the text. When you identify the theme, you need to determine what idea or central message is conveyed through the text. So we're going to look at it. What are some of the things you found in Travel by Robert Stevens? What are some of the things that you thought? Or what story did it teach you? Because it all goes by our backgrounds or where we've been or what we've experienced in life, what we see when we read that poem. A little later on, I'm going to tell you what I saw and how it made me feel. Now, the first part of it is who's narrating the poem. So therefore, the narrator is the person who's telling the story. And what point of view is it being told from? So when we looked at the story is being told by the author. He's telling a story about a child who is experiencing going on a trip or traveling out away from everything else, but he's thinking about all the different places he could possibly go. What does the narrator talk about? Well, we just said it. He's talking about what? Traveling. We didn't say anything about bouncing the ball or anything. We are talking about traveling. And he lists all these different places that he could possibly visit. All these possible places that he could go. And how he would feel if he was able to go. I mean, he gave in very specific details. Anytime you're talking about the knotty knots on the back of the crocodile, he's being very specific. What are some of the things that the narrator described? He describes the meat hanging in the bazaar. I know many times we've seen it on TV, how they have the meat hanging in the bazaar. That you can picture that. And he's talking about the Great Wall of China. We've seen it on TV. A lot of us, some of us have visited those places, but those who have not, we have seen it on TV. So therefore, when the author gives them to us, we can actually see them and we can imagine these places and we can hear the excitement in his voice of how he wants to go visit them. And how does the poem make you feel? Well, that's when you said, when we were talking about theme earlier, when I read the poem, I can imagine seeing a young child who's excited, very excited. You know how when the carnival comes to town and you start discussing how you want to ride this ride and that ride. And so a child, when they get excited, they just start blurting out everything. It just starts flowing out. Well, when I listen to this poem, I can imagine a child that's talking about, I want to go here, I want to go there, I want to go this place, I want to go that place, I want to go that place. That's all the excitement in his voice and telling you that he really wants to go to this place and he really wants to be there and he really wants to enjoy. So that's how the poem makes me feel happy of an excited child who is excited about experiencing something new. What about you? How did you feel when you read the poem? Did it excite you? Did you feel like you wanted to go to some of the places? Can you imagine some of the places? I can. So, when we talk about this theme, here we go. And we said, what is the theme about? What is the poet saying about the subject? What message is the poet trying to send? Okay. From the Louisiana Believes website, it says the poet is saying that the world is a massive and exciting place, and there's so much to see and experience. He writes the poem from the voice of a child who's eager and excited to travel the world when he's grown. Themes include adventure, excitement, keep dreaming, never give up on your dreams, and travel the world. Let's look at some of those themes. Adventure. We all want to go somewhere. We all want to experience these big things in life. So therefore, did you see that in the poem? I can. But who all saw the adventure? Raise your hand. All right, the excitement. Of course, you know that's what I was just talking about. That was the best part of it to me, was the excitement that the author portrayed of the child wanting to go visit these places. So therefore, we did see the excitement. To keep dreaming. Yes, as children, we are able to dream about places we would like to go, things we want to experience. And believe it or not, in order for things to happen, you have to dream it first. Because guess what? Your dream produces your drive. So if you dream about something, it produces the drive and you start working for it and you make it happen. That's what I want you all to do when you do your ELA. I want you to dream about making the A's, making the perfect papers. Because if you dream about it, that means you're going to work and you're going to achieve it. And never give up on your dreams. He kept talking. He kept saying about him going to this place and he was going to be there. And then at the end of the poem, you see that transition or that shift where he began and he starts stating that he's walking the sands of Egypt. He's hanging pictures. Like we said in the other lesson, nobody hangs up pictures in houses that they're not going to stay at. So he starts talking about him hanging pictures. So that means he's planning to do what? Stay. And traveling the world. Duh, look at the title. It's travel. So let's go into a TWR activity. Well, we know we're going to be writing. So therefore, we're going to do some practice on transition words. Our transition phrases are going to be as a result, specifically, in particular, for example, in addition, moreover. We're going to read some of the excerpts from the story, and we're going to put transition words in. You know, transitions move the sentence along. So let's look at our first sentence. It says the author wants to visit fictional lands. Blank, he mentions the places. where the golden apples grow, and where the lonely Crusoes building boats. So what transition phrase can we put in there? We could put for example. So let's go to number 2. It says Stevenson also says he wants to visit real places. Blank. He mentions where the Great Wall of China goes and where the 90 crocodiles lies and blinks in the Nile. So what transitional phrase will we put there? Specifically. Number 3. In line 39, Stevenson says, when I'm a man, blank, the reader is led to believe that the poem is from the perspective of a child because he's showing the transition. So what transition word go there? As a result, the reader is led to believe that the poem is from the perspective of a child. All right, number 4. The author uses imagery in such as the light of the fire in the gloom of some dusty dining room, blank. Stevenson used similes in lines such as, where are the forests hot as fire and wide as England tall as fire. So what transitional phrase will we put there? In addition. So number 5. It is clear from the author's use of words that he wishes to convey an optimistic tone. Blank. Stevenson says, where in the sunshine reaching out and rich goods from near and far. So which one will we put here? In particular. So the transitional phrase that we used today was for example, specifically, as a result, in addition, and in particular. Could we substitute or move something around? Some will fit in other places, but we put them where they will be used best for this assignment. So since we practice doing our writing revolution and using transitions, so what does that mean we're going to do next? Yes, we're going to write. So we're going to write a simple paragraph to answer a question where we're going to have to use textual evidence. Let's go to our activity. It says write a written response based on the discussion. Identify a theme in travel and explain how the theme is supported by textual evidence. When you see the word textual evidence, that means you have to go back to the poem and pull some evidence directly from the poem, and you have to support it with your findings. You pull the excerpt straight from the poem, and how do we show that? By putting what? Quotations. Quotations mean that that's someone else's work, and we're going to give them credit. So then we're going to go and we're going to write our theme, and we're going to show our proof. So we are not going to write here today, but I did bring an example in, so I wanted you to see an exemplar. I'm going to stand back and read this exemplar, and I'm going to pull out the parts for you. It says, one theme of the poem Travel is to never quit dreaming. We saw that when we were asking the question, correct? This idea is supported in the poem when it states, not a foot in the street or house, not a stir of child or mouse. And when kindly falls the night, in all the town no spark of light. There I come when I'm a man with a camel caravan. Light a fire in the gloom of some dusty dining room. You see, that's the end of the quotation. So therefore, that comes directly from the text. What is the evidence? Our evidence says, this evidence shows that the poet is describing someone fulfilling a dream or vowing to fulfill a dream. The narrator of the poem describes a voyage of his dreams of going on and the things he dreams of seeing. Since he describes the things he dreams of seeing, but doesn't actually travel to these places throughout the poem, never quit dreaming is a theme that is conveyed through this poem. I want you to keep and continue to look at the poem Travel. It gives you a big structure on life. And always remember, it's always good to dream. I want you to come back tomorrow because we're going to finish talking about this poem. Have a good day.